Story 1. I catfish married men. Throwaway account. A little background to what started all of this. I started dating this guy 2 years ago. We were dating for a month before I decided to do a deep dive. I found out he was married and his wife was 7 months pregnant. I ghosted him and sent all our messages to his wife. They ended up staying together, but 6 months later, I still saw he was active on dating apps Reddit. I sent those to her and she filed for divorce him then. So for the past 2 years, I've trolled the Adultery Cake Eaters R4R forums on here, looking for some of the vilest posts to see if I can connect with the men in hopes of outing them. Most of the stories these men post are either fake or played up to make them look like they are being successful. It's pathetic, to be honest. But once I have enough information and tell them the truth about what I'm going to do, the begging starts. The more they beg and plead for me not to ruin their lives, the funnier it is to me. All of them have offered to pay me not to send info to their wives. One guy offered me $10K. I was shocked at how far they are willing to go not to get caught. You would also think that this process would take time, but it's usually only a couple days with some pictures exchanged, and they are eating out of my hand. The longest I took on one guy was 2 weeks. He was being extra cautious because, surprise, this was not his first time cheating. My total count so far is 24 men. The wives' reactions have been a mixed bag. Some decide to stay and work it out, and a couple ended up just blocking me. Out of the total, 8 of those women were pregnant. I currently have 3 wives sitting on the information I sent them that they are planning to use in their divorces. I'm posting now as an end of an era, as I'm getting into a serious relationship and cannot continue. Honestly, if you are moderately attractive, you can also do this. Cheaters, you are safe for now, but one day you will come across someone like me. Story 2. Everyone told me not to buy a car, now I'm stuck with it and constantly lying about it. To keep it short, I saved up some money and had a lucky sports bet win. So I went ahead and bought a BMW M6 2012, my dream car. Everyone said it was a bad idea, saying it would guzzle gas and break down a lot. Well, they were right. I blew the engine just a month in and now I can't afford to replace it. Every time someone asks about my car, I lie and say I'm doing some body work to make it look better, but the truth is, it's just sitting there broken and I have no idea when or if I'll ever be able to fix it. I'm feeling pretty stupid right now. Story 3. I masturbate with my friends. I, 20F, masturbate with my friends, but not all together. I have 3 best friends, but they each think we have this secret where we masturbate together. I mean, if I'm hanging out with them alone and they spend the night, we get off next to each other, but we agree to keep it a secret, but I keep this secret with each one, so I don't think they ever know. I wonder sometimes if they've told each other, but I'm sure it would have come up by now. Story 4. Assaulted and had an orgasm. I'm ashamed of myself. I was assaulted nearly a year ago. I haven't told anyone and it's hard dealing with it on my own. One of the reasons I didn't tell anyone is because I had orgasms during the assault, which I'm ashamed of. I didn't know you could orgasm during the assault and it made the rape feel even worse. I'm trying my best to deal with it, but struggling. Story 5. I had a moment of realization and I think I hate my brother. When I was young, around first grade age level, and my brother was in middle school. Me and my brother was on winter break, I believe, and while my mother and father went to work, my brother would take care of me. Everything was fine until one day when it was around 3 p.m. My mother usually comes home by 4 or 5. I was in the living room on the sofa playing a game on my tablet when my brother came downstairs and walked in front of me. He said, "Put your tablet down and look at me," and then he showed me his privates. And began to please himself in front of me whilst asking me things like, "Can you touch it, or can you put it in your mouth, or can I rub it on your back?" He did this for around 20 minutes or until I finally told him to stop enough until he left. This would keep going on for a couple of months, and he would do this whenever my parents, another brother living with us, wasn't home. You might be saying, why didn't you just tell your parents? That's because I was a little child, and every time he finished, he would beg me to not tell anyone, so I didn't. And just so you know, I tried, but I was a little child. I didn't know how to describe what was happening to me. I still quite don't understand. And he finally stopped when I was talking to my other brother, and I tried to confide in him, and he finally understood me. A huge conflict happened, but he never told my parents and told me that I shouldn't tell them because he was young and dumb. But the way that he said it made it seem was if I was at fault. And as I grew up, I believed that, so I made myself look unattractive by overeating so that I would be fat, and many other things so that I could be seen as ugly, because I didn't want what happened to happen again. I did tell my mother what happens after many years. Guess what she responded with? She told me not to tell anyone, and especially my father, because my brother was once again young and dumb. Like WTF Mom, I was in tears, like literally having a breakdown, and at the end she told me to stop crying because I apparently have reason to cry. Ever since then, after a few years later, me and that very same brother who did what he did to me are now close. I put that in quotations because a few weeks ago, as I was going to sleep, it hit me that what happened wasn't my fault. I didn't ask for that to happen. I was just being a kid, and that's what I get. What did I do? Now I'm getting mainly negative thoughts about him to the point where I think it's hatred. Am I wrong to hate him? And also, did he technically molest me? I genuinely want to know if there is a name for what he did to me. Sorry for the bad grammar. I was angrily typing this, and I'm too mad to look over it. Story 6. Ruined my own life. Within the span on 2 months, I left my 2-year relationship, lost my first well-paying job, most of my friends, the respect of my parents, crashed my car, and I'm now 20 and addicted to cocaine. Most of my friends don't greet me when they see me out anymore. They just force a smile. It's a horrible feeling. I just couldn't hold it together. Comment 1.
Okay, slow down. Yes, you hit a rough patch. There's no such thing as putting it back together, there's only moving forward. 1. Get off the coke, get off the coke, get off the coke. 1 to 2. Reach out to your friends for help, tell them you're struggling and need support. The ones who support are your friends. The ones who don't are not. 3. I'm sure you have some transferable skills and can get another job. I myself lost the most high-paying job I ever had this year, did some service business work while hunting and found another job. Doesn't pay as much, but it pays enough and is a whole new avenue. 4. Get off the coke. It kind of sounds to me like your family only rewarded you for the high-paying job and your friends are kind of superficial. Sounds a bit like a narcissist parent background, which can lead to addiction. Learn to rely on and care about others. You'll find out soon who your friends are and who in your family you should keep in your life. You're 20. That's so much younger than you think. I'm over twice your age and learned these lessons in my late 30s. You'll be fine, but there's no quick fix. You have to learn how to be content and be happy through your relationships.
Story 7. First professional massage experience. Having had a stressful week, I, 35 male, wanted to get a massage this evening. I've always been curious about getting a massage, but had never seen a professional, although I knew several people that went regularly to somewhat expensive masseuses. On the contrary, there are a number of nondescript massage parlors in strip malls where I live, and I saw some good reviews for one close by and decided to stop in. What the hell. The outside door was grilled, and it opened into a narrow corridor to the right, with a wall and a see-through grilled window a few feet in front of me. It was dingy inside, a few moody light bulbs, and a door at the end of the corridor with explicit instructions to hit the bell before entering. As soon as I walked in the front door, there was a semi-startled woman who spoke in broken English and asked me if I was here for a massage, to which I replied affirmatively. She smiled and got up, and I saw her walk across the grilled window on the other side. She opened the door with the bell at the end of the corridor and asked me to enter. There was another narrow corridor, a long one with a few doors to each side. She led me into one of the doors, which opened up into a small room with a cushioned massage table and a cabinet shelf with oils and creams. The room was small, and it felt as if the masseuse, the manager, I wasn't sure. There seemed to be nobody else there at all, was quite close to me. She was a beautiful woman, 45, 50-ish, slender, fit, pearl white skin, black hair, red lips, and in a reddish black dress. She asked me how long, minus 30 or 60 or 90 minutes, indeed, she was the masseuse. $60 for 60, it was. I asked if I could pay by card, but she said cash only. Interesting, I thought. And since I was out, I said I would run to the ATM. She warmly pointed out the closest one, and I ended up getting out a little more than $60, so there were a few bills extra that I shoved in my wallet on the way back. Back in the room, she asked for the money first, and when I gave her the three $20 bills, she definitely saw that there were more there. Next, she pointed to wall-mounted coat rack and asked me to put my clothes there, pointing at my shirt, and left the room to get something. Having never done this before, I didn't know if it was common etiquette to remove my pants, so I didn't. She came back in and asked me to remove them. I did have boxers on, so I obliged and got on the table face down. She played some soothing music from what seemed like an ancient radio device and then put some oils and cream on me. First was my upper back she kneaded and pressed gently and then slowly worked her way down. As soon as she reached my lower back, she moved back upwards slowly and gently. She was standing at the head of the table and her thighs and legs were bumping into my hands. She didn't seem to mind, as this happened fairly often. I was somewhat aroused by the touch. Rather quickly, but not in a rushed way, she slowly started working lower and lower in what I thought anyway was a semi-sensual manner. She slid the elastic of my boxers gently down and went to work her hands on my upper ass cheeks, stretching down the table, and then all the way back up. Slowly but surely all the way back down again and lower with her nails ... grazing the top of my ass crack. Oh man, I thought to myself, as I felt the tingle of an erection, this is not okay nor professional. I need to focus on something else and enjoy the sensations rather than being aroused by it. Deep breaths. Few. Okay. Under control to some extent as she kept working my lower back. And then lower butt. Well, I was growing hard and I said, okay, it is what it is. This woman has dealt with it before and is a professional. It will be okay. At the same time, I was somewhat nervous. Then she moved lower to my uppermost thighs and almost spread my ass cheeks apart briefly and gently. Now, my legs. She then asked me okay to remove these and tugged on my boxers. Already giving in to seeing whatever will happen, I happily accepted. She pulled them off gently. I was getting rock hard but tried to stuff my cock and balls towards the table. It didn't feel bad. She then started working my inner legs and upper thighs. It was feeling incredibly good. And then she made contact with my balls as she massaged the topmost part of my inner thighs crotch, zing a jolt of electricity and stiffness. I panicked. I started talking. Hey, I'm sorry, but I need to let you know I have an erection. Lady side note, we had been largely silent till now, maybe 20 mins and aside from her asking me every now and then, is it? Okay, good. And continued when I mouthed affirmatively. She stopped and said something I couldn't understand, and it was clear she didn't understand me either. Regardless, she said she'll be back and left the room to get something. Okay, phew. I was regaining control in the meanwhile. To some extent, I thought. She came back in and went straight to work on my lower back and ass with a hot towel. Oh my, it felt amazing. Then she worked her fingernails all the way from the bottom of my legs to the upper back, spending a generous amount of time on my ass and ass cheeks. I was super horny and just decided to breathe through it. We are both professionals here. After a few mins of this, she then kind of commanded me to turn over. Yikes, I thought, but I did anyway. And there it was, my rock-hard boner for all to see. I thought this was so surreal. Here I am butt naked with a random woman in a shady spot with a rock-hard boner. This is going to end well, or very, very poorly. She feigned some surprise, but some of it was genuine too. I think it was her manner of communicating without the words, and then said, I like it pointing at my hard cock. She said, it's okay, and conveyed that she wouldn't mind giving it a tug, but that I'd have to pay more. I was in disbelief. Dazed and horny, I asked her how much, and she said $80. I said I didn't have money but could go to the ATM afterwards. She motioned to my wallet and asked A beat the bills. Hey, shoot 'em up, I thought. Okay, let's go. I pulled out $80 and gave it to her. She said she'll be back and left the room. She came back in and immediately started working on my cock, balls, taint, and ass. Very professional, and she didn't make eye contact. I was moaning with pleasure, so I wasn't really looking, but was talking to me and asking if it felt good. I looked at her and told her she was gorgeous. She moved closer to me and took my right hand and put it on her breast. She then moved her dress down to reveal two supple breasts with big light brown areolas, and moved my hand to her ass. She was wearing a thong, all this while she was jerking my dick off with her other hand. She looked at me and then said, "You are very handsome. Would you like to boom boom?" With hand motion. She pulled down her dress to show a beautiful hairy vagina. "More money though," she said, and me, nearly close to ejaculating, knowing I had none left, said no. She then kissed my cheek and said, "Next time then." I gently traced the outline of her pussy lips with my finger through her panties, and she moaned with pleasure but refused to kiss me on my lips. She did place her breast in my mouth as I sucked on her nipples while she slowly masturbated me. As she was tugging my cock in one hand and running the other through my ass and balls, I orgasmed hard and came all over my stomach and chest without warning. It felt incredible. She gently gasped and chuckled with surprise and said, "Yes, you like it." She brought another set of hot towels, cleaned me up, and then said I still have 15 mins left. She would give me a head and gentle body massage. This also felt amazing. After finishing up, she left the room for me to put on my clothes. She then kissed my cheek again and said, "See you next time." I just got back home and I am in disbelief as to what happened. I will definitely be visiting again. Story 8. Fart fetish. I am 31-year-old female and I have had a fart fetish since I was a child, maybe 5 years old or younger even. I was always really obsessed with butts, and I remember my friends would sit on my face and fart with their clothes on, and we both enjoyed it, but I didn't understand it. As I got older, I felt really confused and shameful. My boyfriend now sits on my face and I eat his ass, but I'm afraid to ask for anything else. He knows I have a fart fetish, and I told him I used to watch fart porn, but I think he blocks it out. He's come a long way with trying things, but I don't know if he'd fart in my mouth. If I mention it, he kind of laughs and doesn't take it seriously. I feel like I am never 100% satisfied even when I orgasm eating his ass, because it's not the same, obviously. So I end up coming back to porn even though I always try to quit. Every few weeks, months or so, I will binge fart porn and edge myself for 90 minutes. I only enjoy watching lesbian fart porn, but since I've watched so much, I've ventured into even more taboo stuff that I don't even think I'd be into, like scat and such. I feel like porn has just made the fetish worse, and sometimes I don't even want to have sex. I just want to eat my man's ass for an hour while I jerk him off. I don't know what to do. Sometimes I really fantasize about a girl farting on my face, and it becomes hard to think about anything else.